Hey guys, B here, author, reader, and anime fan. I just read Boys in the Valley. I finished it last night and wow, oh wow. I definitely recommend this book on Audible. I read the audiobook and it was fantastic. The narrator does an excellent job. I believe it's just one dude, but he does so many different voices that are very unique, and for a horror book, he makes some of the voices for the villains very scary. If you're a fan of creepy kids, possessions, religious horror stories, this book is for you. Peter is sadly orphaned at a very young age, and it takes place a few years later. He's living in the orphanage. I think it was called St. Vincent's. He has friends, Simon, David, and tons of other boys live in there too. And they're led by three priests. Father White, the head priest is Father Poole, very strict. And then there's Father Andrew, who gives me a lot of Mark Hamill vibes for some reason. Sort of Luke Skywalker. Um, he's very nice. He sort of pushes the boys to live their own lives and to keep being kids and enjoy the world. And he has a very special bond with Peter. Well, late one night, the sheriff brings an injured man who was part of a cult to the orphanage because there isn't a hospital for miles and the priests are trained in medicine. But something is wrong with this man. He is not looking good. He is looking monstrous. And after a brutal night, things start happening to the boys in the orphanage. They start taking sides and going against each other, and it isn't long before the orphanage becomes scenes of murder. This was a fast paced book. The chapters were short. I love it like that when you can just read and get on to the next thing and the next thing. It cuts to the meat of the story, which is how I like to describe a book that I really like. Don't get me wrong, I love background. There were backgrounds for Peter and the other characters. You get to hear about their backstories and like where they come from, their ambitions. Peter has a little romance with this girl named Grace who lives in the town market where the orphanage shops, and it's all really nice to read about. But then when things get intense and bloody, that is when things start to get interesting in this book. The author did a fantastic job capturing all the voices of all the kids and the priests and the time period they were in, which is right after the Civil War, I believe. And I'm a very modern guy. I usually read modern day books, not historic books that were like back in the day, but this one was excellent. And like I said, I read it on Audible. I definitely recommend that version. Check it out, Boys in the Valley.